Hey guys, as we've all expected for a long time, with an end of the final season of Game of Thrones, HBO will launch some kind of spin-off, prequel or sequel series, a new series based on George R. R. Martin's fictional universe. A few days ago, it's been revealed that HBO is in the process of developing 4 ideas from multifarious writers to keep George R. R. Martin's fictional world on our screens for a long time. While HBO is surprisingly developing 4 potential Game of Thrones spin-off series that will explore different time periods in an expansive George R. R. Martin's world, that doesn't mean that HBO will release 4 Game of Thrones spin-off series. Additionally, in my opinion, among those 4 ideas from 4 different writers, only one will actually go into production. Before we consider a few possibilities about what Game of Thrones spin-off series might be about, let me just say that among those 4 projects that are under consideration, George is being personally attached only to 2 of them. David Benioff and Dan Weiss, co-creators and showrunners of Game of Thrones, even though they previously said that they do not plan to be involved in any follow-up projects, actually will be attached to all 4 potential projects as executive producers, but will not contribute as writers. With all of this being said, and with Martin's statement that there are 8 million stories in Westeros, and even more in Essos and the lands beyond, a whole world full of stories waiting to be told. Let's see what might be the story that HBO will decide to introduce us with in the upcoming Game of Thrones spin-off. While the possibilities for the spin-off plot are endless, Robert's Rebellion is doubtlessly among those stories that we are, as Martin said, waiting to be told. Robert's Rebellion, also known as the War of the Usurper, was a rebellion against House Targaryen, primarily instigated by Eddard Stark, Jon Arryn and Robert Baratheon. The war was sparked when Prince Rhaegar Targaryen kidnapped Lyanna Stark, which eventually resulted with the death of Lyanna's father and brother upon protesting this act to the Mad King. The rebellion officially began when King Aerys called for the heads of Lyanna's betrothed, Robert Baratheon, and her second brother Eddard Stark, who were under the care of Warden of the East, Jon Arryn. Instead of turning Eddard and Robert over to King's justice, Lord Jon raised his banners in rebellion against these unjust acts and sent Robert Baratheon and Eddard Stark back to their lands to rally their men. Robert's rebellion lasted almost a year and resulted with the end of Targaryen dynasty in the Seven Kingdoms. Not only that, Robert's Rebellion would provide us numerous battles, along with the famous Battle of the Trident, during which Robert killed Rhaegar in single combat with a blow to the chest from his warhammer, but would also reveal the full truth behind the relationship between Lyanna Stark and Prince Rhaegar that led to Jon's birth. While a big amount of us would like to see Robert's Rebellion in the potential spin-off, George R. R. Martin doesn't agree. A year ago, while being contacted by Entertainment Weekly, Martin revealed what his thoughts are about potential spin-off. Martin said, "The most natural follow-up would be an adaptation of my Dunk and Egg stories. Each of the novellas could easily be done as 2-hour standalone movie for television. That would probably be the ideal way to do them, rather than as an ongoing weekly series. The Hedge Knight and its sequels are lighter than A Song of Ice and Fire, more in the realm of action-adventure." In case you don't know, the Dunk and Egg stories are an ongoing series of novellas set in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, prequels to the main novels. 3 novellas have appeared so far, with 6 to 12 stories being planned in the series. The stories relate the adventures of the Hedge Knights are Duncan the Tall, who would become a legendary member of the Kingsguard, and his squire Egg, who would become King Aegon V Targaryen. The stories begin with their meeting 89 years before the events of the main novels. The only issue with Dunk and Egg stories is lack of source material to work with. As Martin said himself, each of those 3 novellas could be done into 2 hours worth of screen time, but on the other hand, there are 6 to 12 stories being planned in the series. Considering George R. R. Martin's statement about potential spin-off, along with the fact that he is being personally attached to 2 out of 4 potential Game of Thrones spin-off series that HBO is developing, the Dunk and Egg stories being a new story that we are going to be introduced with most certainly is not out of the realm of possibilities. Let me just highlight that the set date for this spin-off is unknown, as HBO said. There is no set timetable for these projects, along with the statement, "Will take as much or as little time as the writers need, and as with all our development, we will evaluate what we have and the scripts are in." Meaning that there will most probably be a gap between the end of Game of Thrones and the new George R. R. Martin's fictional universe related series.